Medicare, which is predicted to be insolvent by 2017. Social Security is predicted to be insolvent by 2037. The Postal Service has been mismanaged with a projected deficit of $7 billion this year, even criticized by our own president, being called, quote, as always having problems, unquote, and uplifting private industries such as UPS and FedEx, saying they're, quote, doing just fine, unquote. And in light of the fact that Tennessee tried a health care plan in 1994 that ballooned into an $8 billion monstrosity, which actually consumed a third of its budget and has been labeled a disaster by the governor, and the fact that the federal government continues to underestimate costs for its programs, evidenced by the additional funds just recently allocated to the Cash for Clunkers program, an additional $2 billion, and the fact that our national debt stands at $11.6 trillion. In light of all those facts, what evidence, not just promises, but evidence can you provide us that the federal government could manage the system?
Yeah.
In fact,
I think there are some things government has not done very well, and there are some things it's done quite well, actually. And so, the boot marks on the surface of the moon are not Chinese or Russian, are they? American boot marks. American astronauts went to the moon with American ingenuity. That was a government program. Frankly, we have this unbelievable modern marvel that we all use called the internet. Created that DARPA in the Department of Defense. The federal government created the internet in the Department of Defense. The Defense Department Advanced Research and created it. So I could go on at length. I think, and let me also say about Medicare, it's true, Medicare has very serious financing problems. It's interesting that much of that comes from success, because as you know, this is a fee-for-service program. The government pays the bills, but it doesn't tell you who you can see and who you can't see. You pick your own doctor, you pick your own hospital. What has happened in this country is really some pretty interesting news. People are living longer, much longer. And as a result, they have health care that is given them over a longer period of time. Social Security, when we created Social Security, I wasn't there, but we lived on average to age 63. Now you live to 78. Well, when you create a program that says you're going to live to about 63 and we'll pay you benefits at 65, I went to a real small school, but I can understand that now. That's going to pencil out real well. But the fact is, people are living longer and better lives, and so it is causing a larger claim on Social Security and Medicare. I guess I am not as down on Medicare as I think you might be. I think most senior citizens. And by the way, when Medicare was created, let me just make one final point, because I promise I'm going to listen to trying to do that. When Medicare was created, 1/2 of the old folks in this country had no health care. You know why? Because I guarantee you, insurance companies don't go looking for old folks to insure. They do not. Because that's the people that are going to have some health needs in the future. They want a 20-year-old that's fit and strapping and ready to go, that's not going to show up at a hospital or doctor's office for years. They want the premium because they don't have to pay much in outlays. But 50% of the elderly in this country had no health care. And because insurance companies didn't want them to have that, they didn't want to sell them health care. So we insured the senior citizens in this country with Medicare. It's fee for service. They pick their doctor, they pick their hospital. Frankly, I think it's worked pretty well. There have been a few problems with it, but we need to solve the financing of it. And even more than that, you haven't raised it, but I will. We have very significant, dangerous deficit and debt levels that we have to deal with in this country. I agree with you. We've got to come to grips with that. It's a big deal. But I do think that this country would be a lesser place if tomorrow there were not Medicare. It would be a much lesser place in that's just my own opinion.